Fortnite Battle Royale has made its way into the lives of hundreds of millions of players in the 2+ years that it's now been available to play. Between Xbox, PlayStation, PC, mobile, and the Nintendo Switch, Fortnite is one of the most easily accessible and readily available games on the entire planet. And above all, it is free to play, so literally anybody and everybody can jump on and try it out whenever they want. In fact, earlier on this year, back in March, it was reported that Fortnite has had over 250 million unique players log on and actually play a match, and we can only assume that number has gone up by millions more in the time since. Basically, what I'm getting at is that Fortnite is massively popular and insanely successful, and with so many people playing the game now, there is bound to be a few issues that arise because of it here and there. And one of the most prominent problems that is surrounding Fortnite in the eyes of a lot of people, especially mainstream media, is addiction. Fortnite, since it does have such a diverse player base, is being played by people who are 5, 6, 7 years old maybe, and also people who are 40, 50, or 60 years old. Now, the older end of that spectrum really is not the concerning one. The younger one is, though, as your brain is not anywhere near being fully developed at that age, and thus you are incredibly susceptible to things like early addiction and other bad habits. And today we're breaking down a few of those cases in particular, where some kids are just way too obsessed with Fortnite and other video games out there right now. In fact, they're so obsessed with these games that they had to go on the Dr. Phil show to try and resolve their personal issues and get some help dealing with their addiction problems. So without further ado, let's take a look at what Dr. Phil has to say about people who are addicted to Fortnite Battle Royale. Now, for today, we're going to be taking a look at Jake, who is a teenager that is so addicted to Fortnite and other video games that he doesn't even go to school anymore and dropped out completely because he would just rather spend his time gaming instead. In fact, Jake even admits that he is most certainly addicted to playing video games.
A typical day for me is where I'll usually wake up, grab breakfast, come back down, play games for a couple hours. I spend pretty much all day on video games. I truly think I am addicted to the video games.
Now, admittedly, it is a pretty good thing that right off the bat, Jake is able to admit, I've got a pretty big problem here. I play way too many video games. Typically, they say the first step in fixing a problem is admitting there is a problem in the first place. Except, Jake is being a little counterproductive here because while he says, I definitely do have a video game addiction, he also goes on to say that he doesn't know why he has an addiction, nor does he really have much of an interest in actually seeking help to try and get over it.
My mom does frustrate me sometimes when she takes my games.
You've been playing games all day long.
Sometimes I'll yell at her.
Jake has actually even gotten into physical altercations with his own family because of how addicted he is to video games. Basically, when they try to get him to come out of his room or to stop playing a game at any given point, Jake goes into full-on rage mode and will smash things, punch things, and even fight those trying to remove him from said games.
I came down here and punched a big hole in the wall, and then she was like yelling at me, trying to say stop, but I just kept going.
To make matters even worse, Jake's parents are also divorced now, so that's another added stress factor in his life. And his dad in specific has not always had the best relationship with him.
I was sitting in the office playing my games, and he came and grabbed me, threw me on the floor, and then I got back up, I tried to run away, he grabbed me, pushed me out the door.
So not only does Jake have a lot of personal problems with his video game addiction, but he's also got a lot of family issues going on as well. Both of which, when combined, just pile up more and more, likely leading to him want to escape to playing video games more than ever before. Now, throughout all of these issues and problems occurring and persisting, Jake's mother wrote into Dr. Phil to seek help with everything going on. And when they were accepted to come onto the show, Jake's mother had to sit down and let him know what exactly was going on. And that is when Jake full-on refused to get any kind of help whatsoever from Dr. Phil. And he simply said, I'm gonna be staying home, you can go out to LA. And we all know Jake was really probably just wanting to stay home so he could play more video games.
The Dr. Phil show.
You enjoy your time in LA?
So you'll most likely not be willing to go.
Correct.
And that means if I try to get you to go.
But that is where things took a bit of an interesting turn, because both of Jake's parents ended up agreeing to go on the Dr. Phil show, but with Jake refusing to do so, Dr. Phil ended up sending out a transporter, which is basically just a person who comes and collects whoever refuses to come on and do the show, and they force them to actually go on and do it. But if I had to guess, upon the transporter arriving at Jake's home, I take it Jake was a little intimidated by the whole situation and decided the easiest way to go about everything would just be to agree to go on the show and get some help. Now, oddly enough, once the transporter arrived, it seems like Jake's entire attitude regarding the situation changed for the better, as he seemed a little more eager and excited to go on the show and potentially combat his video game addiction and other family issues.
Yeah. So right now we are at the airport and we're heading off to LA.
So now we have Jake, his parents, and Dr. Phil all together in the same place. And right away when confronted, Jake fully admits to having a major problem with video games. And that's where he also admits that he uses gaming as an escape from his real life struggles too. Here is also where Jake admits that he is pretty ashamed about his relationship with his family, as his video game addiction has led to his parents and his relationship almost completely diminishing entirely.
Missing out on this opportunity is going to be a big mistake, and I think Dr. Phil is going to be able to help me out with my problems right now, and I'm very excited.
What Jake does have going for him though, above all, is that he is able to admit that he does have a serious problem, and that he knows it needs to be fixed for his sake and also for his family's sake too. Now, one of the biggest factors that we've talked about here more recently on the channel when it comes to younger kids becoming addicted to video games is that there is probably a lack of good parenting in that household. Parents are responsible for keeping up to date with their kids physically, mentally, and emotionally. And if they notice issues, like say Jake's for instance, there should be an attempt to resolve said issues immediately. But Jake's parents here actually fed into his addiction quite a bit as well.
Are you surprised that they keep buying you games?
A little bit, but in the moment.
Now it gets even more awkward though, because Dr. Phil ends up bringing up some texts between Jake and his dad, where Jake asks for a game and his dad basically just buys it for him without any questions whatsoever. And that prompts Jake's dad to say that he never really buys Jake anything unless he earns it through work or by doing some other kind of chore. And his mom just doesn't really seem to buy that.
Lie. Jake, can you honestly say you have earned everything Dad has bought you?
No, but there's also Christmas where I get a load of games, $1,000 worth or whatever.
Then, to wrap it all up, Dr. Phil essentially says that Jake likely suffers from an internet gaming disorder, which at the time this interview was conducted was not an official disorder from my understanding. However, in the time since, the World Health Organization said that gaming disorder is actually a very real and very legitimate thing. It is actually classified as an excessive and prolonged pattern of playing computer games compulsively to the exclusion of other interests, and the persistence and recurrent online activity results in a loss of control over gaming, tolerance, and withdrawal symptoms. So after seeing Jake's case, we really have a better understanding of what all can potentially factor into a gaming disorder or a video game addiction like his. If you guys actually caught the video earlier on in the week where we looked at Alex, who was another kid who had to go on the Dr. Phil show because of his gaming addiction, Alex didn't really have a great parenting situation If you guys caught the video earlier on in the week where we looked at Alex, who was another kid who had to go on the Dr. Phil show because of his gaming addiction, Alex did not really have a great parenting situation in his life. And Jake seems to be caught up in the struggles of his parents divorcing, and probably some struggles at school as well, thus his general disinterest in attending it whatsoever. So that common lack of parental involvement could have easily led to both Jake and Alex becoming severely addicted to video games. Some people though would also like to blame the games themselves. That I personally don't understand too much, but for the sake of conversation, that is like saying something is too good, so you just have to keep doing it because it just is so good. Fortnite, as I mentioned in the intro, is available for free and is on all platforms, so it is readily available to anyone and everyone who wants to play it, meaning that you can become addicted to it too easily thanks to its availability. So what are your thoughts on Fortnite potentially being an addicting game that is too easily accessible all across the board, between being free to play and also being available on all platforms? Does that come down to the individual playing the games, their parents, the game itself, or something else entirely? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on it, give it a big old thumbs up, it would be much appreciated. And of course, if you are new here and you like what you see, feel free to subscribe with your post notifications turned on. That way you'll always know when a new video goes live. As always, by joining the notification squad, every time we post a new video, YouTube will actually send you a message. That way you can be the first person to watch, like, and comment on each and every new upload. With all of that being said, that is effectively going to wrap things up for now. So thanks so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and we'll see you guys on the battle bus. Peace out.